pleasure to have in studio on FYI Andy Sokolovich of Grow Clinton. Try and catch up with him every once in a while. Appreciate it, Andy.
Oh, Gary, thank you so much for having me, and I always enjoy the opportunity to sit down and have a discussion with you.
Tell you what, you got some great talking points. Let's jump right into it. Atlas Roofing Update. I drive by there, and every time I drive by, it looks different.
Yeah, Atlas Roofing Corporation's coming along. If you don't know where they're at, they're located in the Lincoln Way Industrial Rail and Air Park on the western edge of the Clinton boundary. It's a beautiful park, just shy of 400 acres remaining. Atlas chose that location to be their corporate headquarters for Atlas Roofing. Atlas Roofing actually falls under the umbrella of Hood Companies, which is the holding company that owns several different businesses, but Atlas is definitely their shining star. So that is a $250 million capital investment, and they're going to create about 150 high-quality jobs. They plan to be operational at the latest by Q2 of 2026.
It is incredible. And the story of why they came to Clinton, you were getting ready to go golf, right?
I was, yeah. It's very interesting. They were originally looking at the Eastern Iowa industrial site down there off along I-80 in Davenport, where Sterilite's located. And there they would have been served by the rail line Canadian Pacific. But to access that parcel, the train must go across a very antiquated wooden bridge. And that bridge is so old that they actually have a weight restriction, meaning that they cannot ship full rail cars to and from the location for the end user. As a result, it is cost prohibitive to do business. So Atlas began looking at our rail park, and they called and said, hey, would you be willing to give us a little tour? Absolutely. When are you going to be here? 20 minutes. So yeah, I went out there in shorts, a polo, and flip-flops and walked the rail, and they had some great equipment with them. They leveraged Bluebeam as a software provider, which provides them a satellite view of the rail park. So they were able to put in very little time where their plant would be, and the logistics just worked out. So they announced just a few months after that they were coming to Clinton, Iowa.
That is great. That's got to be your biggest success story, isn't it?
Yeah,
Andy?
huge feather in the cap for Grow Clinton. You know, it's economic development is all about building relationships. Of course, you know, local incentives, state incentives play a factor, workforce availability. But at the end of the day, the individuals that are making these site selection decisions and determining where the location is going to be for the next large capital investment, they're people. Like, they're just like you and I. They have hobbies, they have things they like, they love having a good craft beer every once in a while. So when the leadership does come to town, we make sure to roll out the red carpet and really thank them and demonstrate our appreciation for choosing our community as a place to do business.
You've been doing this for a while now. I mean,
10 years. Yeah.
Your contact list has got to be amazing
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, it is. It's all about who you know. And I will say that in the state of Iowa, we are very lucky and blessed to be able to have the contacts and the relationships that we do have with our state economic development director, Debbie Durham. She's amazing. My fear is that she's going to retire one day, and my guess is probably when Governor Kim Reynolds steps down for the position of governor, Debbie will probably look for retirement, but she's great, and I don't know what those are big shoes to fill, but just having the access to the State Department really allows us to ensure speed to market.
You don't have a Rolodex, do you?
No Rolodex. I'm using my iPhone, so yeah. Karen in our office does have a Rolodex, though.
Oh, she's a good girl.
Yeah.
Super 8 Logistics.
Yeah, Super 8 Logistics. This is a expansion of an existing company, Clausen Supply and Trucking. Super 8 Logistics is the name they came up with under that LLC. The 8, it represents the amount of grandchildren that Mr. Pete Clausen has. So it will be a warehousing facility, 100,000 square foot initially, with opportunity for expansion. And they'll have some transmodal operations, meaning that they will be rail served by the Union Pacific, and they will have the opportunity to move freight from rail to truck, truck to rail, which is a huge incentive to locate within the park if you do need that service.
I know Pete and his wife have been very big here in the city.
Yes, very philanthropic,
yes,
willing to give to all sorts of different charities and organizations, and they've become successful by just sheer hard work and hustle. And, you know, now they're looking at, they have third generation, fourth generation, potentially fifth generation coming into the company. So they're doing very well for themselves, and we are grateful for their continued investment here in Clinton.
Again, visiting with Andy Sokolovich, Eastern Iowa Light and Power Investment.
Yeah. So the rail park, the Lincoln Way Industrial Rail and Air Park, often referred to as just the rail park for short, is served by two electric providers. Half of the acreage is served by Alliant Energy, and the other half is served by what's known as the Rural Electric Cooperative, or co-op, Eastern Iowa Light and Power, two very different organizations. When Super 8 Logistics purchased the property they're moving into, they are to be served by Eastern Iowa Light and Power. However, in order to get the infrastructure necessary to Super 8 Logistics from the closest substation, they needed to run some additional lines, and that cost was going to be close to about $100,000. And one of the things we try to do at Grow Clinton as the developer of the rail park is to ensure that it is turnkey. When you move in there, you're going to be supplied with all the utilities that you need, meaning that cost should not be applied to the developer. We need to figure out a way locally to get the power out there. So Grow Clinton, our organization, again, a nonprofit, has generated some revenue from land sales, specifically to Atlas. So we have the funding available, and we have the capability of ensuring that we can provide those utility extensions at no cost to the end user. So we invested approximately $40,000 into Eastern Iowa Light and Power, who's a great member of Grow Clinton, has been very philanthropic over the years, helps us with our site certification process by contributing their own finances to support the project. So yeah, $40,000 ensures that they'll be able to get the infrastructure out there to meet the power demands of Super 8 Logistics.
Again, appreciate you coming in. It's so educational, not only for our listeners, but for me as well. Third-party industrial switching operations.
Yeah, so when you have a rail-served site, you have what's known as a Class 1 railroad. We're lucky here in Clinton to have several Class 1 railroads. The site specifically out in the industrial park is served by the Union Pacific. The Union Pacific will bring rail cars for the end user on a unit train, and they will go past the rail park. They'll hit a switch, and they'll come up what's known as an industrial lead, and then they move the rail cars into what's called basically a sit yard or publicly owned rail, which the city of Clinton has constructed in partnership with Atlas Roofing, but ultimately it will be a publicly owned track. Then you need to have somebody to take those cars from that publicly owned rail sit yard to the end user. So in this case, two Super 8 Logistics and two Atlas Roofing Corporation. That entity is referred to as a third-party industrial switching operation. So they move the cars, and then ultimately they charge the end user for their services. So we are in the process right now, myself, Jason Kraft, the city engineer of City of Clinton, Matt Brook, the city administrator, as well as representatives from Super 8 Logistics and Atlas Roofing Corporation to determine which company we're going to hire to provide that third-party switching service. So we originally started out with 14 bids. We are down to now 2 candidates for that position. Later this month, I believe the 31st and the 1st, we will bring those 2 entities back to Clinton. We'll put boots on the ground out there at the park. We'll walk the rail, and we'll solicit feedback and information from those candidates and ultimately make our determination, and they will enter into a contract agreement with the city of Clinton to provide rail switching service.
You know, just listening to you, my head is spinning. Mm-hmm. How do you keep all of this straight?
I have no idea, sir. I would like to say I'm a very organized person, but that would be false. I will say that I am lucky that in 2015, the then Clinton Regional Development Corporation took a leap of faith and hired me. On paper, I was grossly underqualified for the job. However, the basic skill sets to be an effective economic developer is the ability to communicate, facilitate conversations, ensure that you have the utilities at the table, building those partnerships with the municipality, and ultimately connecting everyone together so that there's no gaps in that conversation. And we've been able to do that effectively for the last 10 years. Now, being the president of Grow Clinton, a combined chamber and economic development organization, we are very versatile and we are quick to respond, given the fact that our staff is now full. And I just really enjoy what I've been able to do for the last 10 years.
Very good. More with Andy Sokolovich. A break of the weather brought to you by Electronic.
Another hot and humid day ahead of us, so there will be a few more clouds in our skies for some temporary relief from the hot sun. Temperatures reaching the upper 80s with scattered showers and storms this afternoon. A couple of those continue this evening with some gusty winds. Overnight lows tonight near 70 degrees. With your Storm Track 8 weather impact forecast, I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutsky.
So sunshine out there, 78 degrees. The update brought to you by Electronics.
Electronics Incorporated in Clinton is the area's largest communication and alarm systems company. Electronics offers best-in-class life safety, security, two-way radios, and communications equipment from top brands. Electronics, the company you've trusted for over 50 years, can now provide fire extinguisher sales service and inspections, plus kitchen hood inspections as well. Call 563-242-1223 or visit them online at www.electronicsinc.com for your free estimate.
Again, a pleasure to have Andy Sokolovich in studio for FYI. Let's talk a little bit of tourism. We've had Sarah Smith in a couple of times on our Grow Clinton show on Mondays. Talk a little bit about the hiring of Sarah.
Tourism is a large component not only of Grow Clinton services, but also of economic development. People don't realize the economic impact of tourism. That means people coming in from outside the community, staying in a hotel, Airbnb, buying gas, buying groceries. It's massive. I mean, it's well over $1 billion across the state. And we notice, obviously, during things like tailgate and tall boys, a huge jump in occupancy at our local hotels, and our small businesses appreciate the increase in foot traffic. We were void of a tourism director, specifically a director of placemaking and tourism, for about a year after Leslie left us. And she left for all the right reasons. She pursued something that was very close to her heart, so no fault of her own. Finding somebody, we took our time. I was in no rush to just fill the position with a heartbeat. I wanted somebody to come in that was skilled, talented, and passionate about this community. Sarah was actually the first interview we conducted, and she crushed it. She set the bar very high. Everything you could expect from an interview. I mean, she paused, she asked us to repeat the questions, she gave her time to process her response and eloquently issue it to a group of folks representing Grow Clinton, including myself and volunteer board leadership. Sarah's done a phenomenal job in the short tenure she's been with us. She has a strategy. She's looking at doing some advanced marketing, outbound marketing, as well as a branding strategy, really highlighting the assets that we have in our community and knowing that when we say who wants to visit Clinton, the answer is not everybody, right? And that's no fault of the community, but the answer is it's a targeted group of individuals who will find benefit in coming to our community and taking part in the Showboat Theater or visiting Eagle Point Park or going to a Lumber Kings game. We just need to identify what that radius looks like, and we're getting closer and closer with the use of technology. It's actually very scary technology. Everywhere you go with your smartphone, your phone actually pings off of a satellite signal. And there are companies out there that can track your whereabouts, where you were and how long you stayed there. And for a fee, you can capture that information as well. So we're leveraging these new technologies to determine what the radius is for those visitors. And Sarah's going to leverage that to create an awesome message about what we have to offer and really increase our tourism. Now, the tourism component of Grow Clinton is always focused on heads and beds, meaning that people stayed in the night in a hotel. That's really the only metric you can copy. You don't know if somebody's coming in from out of town, but we're looking to create metrics beyond that. And one of the ways that we can do that is create a tourism center. And I know that's on your list of things to talk about. Clinton has always been void of an actual tourism center, somewhere you can go and speak to a subject matter expert, plan your itinerary, pick up some Clinton swag, hoodies, t-shirts, hats, all sorts of that stuff. It's something that we needed desperately. And in our building, 721 South 2nd Street, it is a first-floor condominium that is owned by the Gateway Area Foundation, which is a nonprofit here in our community, which I'm lucky enough to serve as their corporate secretary. We had the other side of the building, 719, that was becoming vacant. So we negotiated a lease agreement, and now we're moving into 719 and creating a Clinton, Iowa Tourism Center. We're going to have a large screen in there showing different type of tourism assets throughout the community. We're going to have a large map of the United States where we can put pins in where people visited. We're going to have a register where people can sign in where they came from and why they're visiting, and we're going to track all that information. And then we're also going to have a retail component, so we're going to work with some of our local member screen printers to create t-shirts and different types of sayings and things like that, kind of like Ray Gun does down in the Quad Cities and Cedar Rapids and Des Moines. Yeah, so we're going to have fun with it and really just try to embrace the fact that people come here to visit and really hone in on our messaging, because that's what we've lacked for several years, is that really exciting, driven, focused message of why you should dedicate time to visiting our community.
That is awesome. Visit Clinton, Iowa Tourism Center.
Yep, it'll be right there, 719 South 2nd Street, right underneath the South Bridge.
The river's got to be a big draw, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's amazing the amount of foot traffic we get in our current office at 721 South 2nd Street with people that have traveled, from Chicago just across the Mississippi and visit Clinton. And then, of course, we get people traveling across the state from the western side along the Missouri to see the river, traveling the Great River Road from south to north. It's really cool to meet people that just want to experience what the Mississippi's like.
For many years when I was doing the professional baseball down there on the riverfront, and, the parents would come in to see their son, and I'm sure they do on the Prospect League as well. But the first thing they wanted to do was take a look at the Mississippi.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's iconic. I mean, void of that river, the western half of our country would not have been developed. I mean, you think about the catalyst that Clinton served from a historical standpoint, providing all the lumber to really erect the whole western half of the United States of America.
Andy Sokolovich, our guest. Grow Clinton. Let's talk about the benefits of membership to Grow Clinton.
Sure. So we adopted a tiered dues membership structure. So we have several different tiers. Each tier increases the level of investment, but also provides a greater return on that investment. Obviously, in the past, you joined the Chamber of Commerce as a small business because it was the right thing to do. Well, that no longer flies in today's market. People are being very secure and intelligent with their investments. However, members of Grow Clinton do receive a suite of services. We help them with marketing, not only the marketing, getting the message out there, but also the creation of marketing collateral and content. We do spotlight videos, a short 30 to 60 second video where we come into your place of business, capture what you do. We create the video. I'm a kind of fly-by-night videographer myself, so I do most of the editing. And then we just send you a video, and it just comes along with your membership. You can use it however you see fit. You can send it off to a broadcast company, or you can maybe capture just the audio and use it as a radio commercial, or you can share it on social media. Obviously, networking is a huge thing. Often when I speak about the power of networking, people say, yeah, we understand that, but I will say without a shadow of a doubt, 100% certainty, I would not be in the position I am today void of networking. And being unable to get involved back then in the Chamber of Commerce and meet so many community leaders really catapulted and fostered the growth of my career. So there's tons of benefits. We work closely with the Small Business Development Center. If you're an aspiring entrepreneur, but you have no idea about how to write a business plan, how to seek out traditional financing, how to identify grant opportunities, we will help you. The Small Business Development Center sends a young gentleman by the name of Connor Flaherty. This guy has bought and sold many businesses in his very young lifespan. His kind of, when he hangs his hat on, is him and his father have a proprietary design on a UV light that attaches to a Roomba-like device and sanitizes wrestling mats. I don't know about you, Gary, but back in the day when I used to wrestle, you would have a couple people that were managers go ahead and slop around dirty water. Definitely not sanitary, and as a result, there was MRSA and ringworm. But now with new technology, this Roomba just travels the perimeter and inside the wrestling mat, shoots out a high-powered UV light, and sanitizes the whole thing. And that's what Connor has built his legacy on, is really creating these small businesses, building them up to scale, and then selling them.
I have a grandson just finished his wrestling career out at Solon, so yeah, I know what you're talking about with the mats. And yeah.
Oh, I would get guaranteed ringworm on my knee every year. It's guaranteed.
The one thing when we have you other folks in on Grow Clinton, the educational opportunities that you do provide to your members, it's amazing.
Yeah. And I wish more people took advantage of it, Gary. I really do. I mean, we've tinkered around with locations and times of day to try to drive in more traffic, but it is no cost to members. Again, we cover everything from just basic small business math to marketing to leveraging artificial intelligence. If you are not embracing AI to build your business and really create an effective methodology behind growing your business, you are missing out. You may hate it. You may not want to use it. And I'm sure it was the same way when we transitioned from typewriters to personal computers. But it is here to stay, and it's only to become more advanced. So we teach a lot of our small businesses how to leverage it really to ensure that they can scale their growth and do it effectively, so they're not necessarily just working in their business, they're working on their business.
Yeah, I hated when I had to give my typewriter up, but that's the way it goes. Networking events. We got one tomorrow at the golf tournament.
Yep, our golf tournament tomorrow. You know, I'm looking at the weather forecast earlier in the week, and it said thunderstorms scattered throughout the day. Ashley Hatteberg from our office, our director of marketing and event planning, has been working with Chris Klon, the general manager out of Valley Oaks. Right now, I looked at the forecast on my way into the studio, and it's just looking like overcast. There's no rain in the forecast, so that's good, fingers crossed. But to all those individuals that are golfing, please come out as scheduled. If for any reason there's a weather incident where we need to come in off the course, Valley Oaks and their team have a nice air horn that they will blast several times as an indicator to come on back into the clubhouse due to lightning or whatever. But we're sold out. We sold out quickly. And to Ashley's credit, one of the things that she did, and not everybody loved this, but I back her 100%. She stiff-armed companies and members from registering several teams or multiple teams in the hopes that we could get some of our smaller members to get in. Because historically in the past, we sold out super fast, and we had several of our members have 2, maybe even 3 teams. And then you'd have maybe a sole proprietor that didn't know anybody, but wanted to take advantage of the networking opportunity of a golf outing and wasn't able to get in. So we stiff-armed the multiple teams thing. Some people got upset, but now we have over 40 different members represented at our golf outing, supporting 36 new teams. So it's very, very cool, and I'm very excited.
You've got a great team down there. It's a small team, but a mighty team. We've
7
mentioned
of us,
Sarah
yeah.
and Ashley, but I want to talk a little bit about Matt Parbs.
Yeah.
There is another gentleman like yourself, came from outside of our community and has embraced Clinton, Iowa.
You know, the first year of Grow Clinton, I went without a vice president, and now I reflect back, that was 3 years ago. I don't know how I did it, to be honest. I mean, we were looking for a candidate for that position that didn't necessarily have economic or community development experience, but was passionate about the community and had the wherewithal to become a fast learner. And Matt was a perfect example of that and continues to be. He's a very quick study. He has offered me the autonomy to basically come and go as I please in the office if I have to take appointments and things of that nature. I'm no longer locked to my keyboard. I have the ability to lead and manage the staff effectively now with his presence in the office. And when I take a vacation, I don't think twice about whether the office is going to be able to continue function in my absence. And any good leader would feel the same way. You have to put trust in your staff, and I have a very trustworthy staff, and I'm very excited to see them continue to grow and expand in their own professional and personal development.
Always try and surround yourself with good people.
That's right.
No doubt about
Makes
that.
life so much easier.
And finally, again, thank you so much for coming in. We're going to close with the Grow Clinton podcast.
Yeah, so this is something we kicked off about 18 months ago. We're now 138 episodes in. It's, again, a benefit for our members. If you're interested in being on the podcast, Jenny Holm from our office, our Director of Member and Community Relations, does all the scheduling. We have our studio right there in our office at 721 South 2nd. Recording takes right around 20 to 30 minutes, depending on topic of conversation. Showcase your business, bring props. We do go live video on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram, as well as capture the audio for our podcast in the audio format that we host via buzzsprout.com. So it's a great service. It's something I geek out on. I've always loved podcasting. To be able to thread that into our strategic marketing plan was a huge boost in my morale, because I look at the podcast as the way to showcase our members and the awesome thing that they do, but I also just truly enjoy doing it as a host.
I've truly enjoyed this half hour. Thank you so much. Enjoy the day. And who are you golfing with tomorrow?
Tomorrow I'm golfing with Drew Mangler from the insurance group, as well as 2 individuals from Shive Hattery. Okay. So, yeah, and the one individual, Rachel, is a diehard Philadelphia Eagles fan, as am I, so I'm sure we'll have a great conversation. She even has a Philadelphia Eagles golf bag, which I'm jealous of.
listening to AM 1340 KROS, Clinton, Iowa.
FM 105.9.
And KROSradio.com.
This is Radio Iowa. I'm Matt Kelly. Thunderstorms last night and this morning brought winds up to 82 miles an hour near Coon Rapids and multiple reports of flash flooding, including in Worth County, which got nearly 6 inches of rain in the past 24 hours. It'll mean cooler weather, though heat advisories remain in place for 8 counties across eastern and southeastern Iowa. The heat can be harmful to people and to pets. Sybil Sukup with the Humane Society of North Iowa says if you see a pet in a vehicle, don't immediately take matters into your own hands.
I would call the police department in my community. They will send out an officer who then can determine if a window needs to be broken or not.
She says they experimented with a thermometer in a car in the Humane Society's parking lot, and with the windows closed, it hit 140 degrees in 20 minutes, easily enough to kill a pet. Authorities confirmed 2 cyclists have died on Ragbri, one Monday, one Tuesday. Each collapsed while riding on an early morning leg. Neither could be revived. You're listening to Radio Iowa.